Hello, hello, my friends. Another dedicated candle review for you today. We're going to be talking about Country Candle Blueberry Milkshake. Now, this is one of their standard 2-wick large vessels. This candle is only available, or should I say this fragrance is only available in this candle format, which is, like I said, one of their large 2-wicks. We do know that Country Candle will be going away, and this fragrance is actually a limited edition fragrance. It was released in the summer of 2024. And I have some thoughts about this one because this is a candle that I most recently picked up. I believe it was during the Memorial Day sale. They had this candle, I believe, for 50% off. This is a fragrance that honestly, I was kind of intrigued by it, but then the name of this candle had kind of scared me off a little bit. But then once I looked at the fragrance notes, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could get on board with that. So let's go ahead and talk about that. The pour date of this specific candle that I am reviewing is May 9th, 2024, which has me believing that this is from the original pour on this fragrance. We have top notes of blueberries, mid notes of pie crust and vanilla, and then listed on the base notes is once again vanilla and fruit filling. So here's the thing with this candle. I've mentioned in a couple of other reviews that I think the most recent one I've talked about this was Cherry Crumble. Sometimes Kringle or Country Candle is a subsidiary of Kringle Candle, by the way, if you are new to shopping from this brand. Um, Here's the thing. Kringle sometimes misnamed some of their fragrances, I think. Some of their candles, like this one, says blueberry milkshake. Well, somebody like me, personally, I love blueberry fragrances, but seeing the word milkshake kind of made me want to steer clear because in my mind, I think a milkshake would have kind of a lactonic note to it, which blueberry with a milky note, not always something that I kind of think I really appeals to me, right? So that's why when I started looking at the fragrance notes on this candle, I was like, I don't think that this really smells like a milkshake. So, in addition to looking at these fragrance notes, I started hearing from some other reviewers that they were saying, oh no, this definitely smells more like a blueberry pie, which of course then had my interest peaked. For whatever reason, I think by the time I started seeing those reviews last year, this is just how the cycle plays out for me personally as a reviewer. I'm always kind of a little bit of like a season ahead of fragrances. I am a seasonal burner, but I will even tell you, like, even at this point in early July, I'm already starting to feel quote unquote over a lot of summer fragrances. But anyways, I think the reason why I didn't pick it up was because I felt like, oh, if that one's still around, maybe I'll get it next year. Well, sure enough, it was still around and I decided to pick it up. So what does my nose detect? You guys, this is a very nice blueberry pie filling type of fragrance. I would say that there's a tiny hint of pie crust in here, but it is nowhere near as noticeable as the pie crust note that you detect, or that I detect, I should say, in the cherry pie fragrance. I know a lot of other people detect that note, but there's quite a few people who say, no, I don't get that pie crust, but I do. The cherry pie is definitely more of like a pie crust forward fragrance with the cherry filling kind of balanced out pretty nicely with it. Whereas to my nose, this fragrance is very much a blueberry pie filling forward fragrance with a little tiny bit of pie crust in the background. It's not really an overly complicated fragrance, if I can be really honest with you guys. If you happen to like Homeworks' blueberry cheesecake, I feel like the blueberry note that I'm picking up in here is very, very similar to the blueberry note that is in the Homeworks blueberry cheesecake, which I've loved that fragrance for a long time. Obviously, there's a little bit more complexity to that fragrance because there is actually, believe it or not, a slightly lactonic note in there. For whatever reason, the thought of a cheesecake doesn't scare me off, but a milkshake does. Don't ask me what my what my reasoning is with that, but um, anyways, you guys, I feel like this fragrance should be brought into the Kringle fold once Country Candle goes bye-bye. I feel like this is a really great starting point. Personally, I would like to see a little bit more of that crust note in here. Maybe find a way to balance out that crust with the, with the fruit filling type of notes here. But I think that this is a really good starting point. And even like, this is just a really, really nice fragrance. I do enjoy burning this one. I have been burning it alongside the Kringle cherry pie. I think that's been a great combination. I've also been burning this with, you can burn this with a variety of other fruit fragrances. You can burn it with cherry crumble. You can burn it with the coconut and blueberry tart. You can burn this with Homeworks' strawberry, what was that? Strawberry shortcake, or Bath and Body Works strawberry pound cake. It's a really good blueberry, like I said, blueberry pie type of fragrance. I would prefer a little bit more of a pie crust note. It's more of like a blueberry pie filling type of fragrance. And so if you tend to like fragrances like that, I think that you will be pleasantly surprised by this candle. Now let's go ahead and talk about the performance of it. So you can see, you guys, I have a really nice deep wax pool on it. Fun fact, you guys, I came outside and lit this one up for this review about an hour ago, and it's already got this deep wax pool. You want to know why? I am filming this review at about 6:45 in the evening, and it is still approximately, I'm looking at the thermostat on the wall right there, and I believe it is still 102 degrees right now outside. Now we have very low humidity, but yes, I'm in Arizona. I think today's high, it got up to 110 today. So we're starting, to cool down for the evening. But anyways, I'm sitting out on my back porch right now filming this. And so that's why I have such a deep wax pool going right here, right now. You can see the flames performing pretty well. These wicks are not getting puny. In the beginning of burning this candle, I did trim a little bit of excess carbon off from the tops, but this one does not have those like rip-roaring type of flames, which is great. Tiny little bit of soot accrual around the top there, but that is one of the designs of these kind of apothecary style jars. They do catch a little bit of excess soot. Let's talk about performance on this one. I've had some varied performance, which is pretty typical for me with Country Candle in particular. I will say soy wax does tend to do this to me as well. This is a 100% soy wax formula, even though it is a colored soy wax. The Kringle lineup has a white soy wax. And I will say that I think maybe one of the reasons why Country Candle might be going the way of the dodo, as my friend Melanie says, is because I do think that something about the colored wax, I think, does sometimes cause some inconsistencies in the fragrance output, particularly depending on where you are at in the life cycle of the candle. So I will say this candle, when it came in, was very strong on cold. The first burn of this candle was pretty strong for me. I would give it about an 8, 8.5 almost. It was a pretty strong burn. But then the second burn on this candle, I noticed quite a substantial drop off in terms of the performance. I would say it was maybe like around like a 5.5, 6, and I was really disappointed by that. So I did go ahead and start burning it over in my closed concept bedroom. You guys know, if you're new to my channel, I do list in the description box the layout of my home, as well as like environmental factors, square footage, whether it's in an open concept, closed concept, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're not familiar with that, take a moment to go ahead and familiarize and compare to your living space. But anyways, once I moved it into the bedroom, it performed really well in there. Like it was definitely a noticeable fragrance when I walked in there, filled up the room easily, was not a problem at all. So one of the things that I did today, I have 2 spots in my living room that I will burn candles in. One of those spots is near like my kitchen, where my living room meets my kitchen. And then the other spot will be actually the opposite side of that room. It's along the wall. I have a quilt rack there that has a little bit of a shelf. And so sometimes I'll burn the candle along that wall. And so the last couple of burns, I decided, let's go ahead and try this out in the open concept along the wall, because sometimes I get really good strength and throw from there. I notice that particularly in the wintertime. And sure enough, for whatever reason, this candle threw a lot better from that point in my living room than it was doing in the other point where I typically burn candles. Whereas, previously when I was saying like it was only like maybe a 5.5, 6, this morning, and the last time that I had it burning in the other spot along the wall, this candle was about a 7 in terms of strength and throw. I would say that the fragrance still kind of wanted to linger within the open concept, but that is the largest room in my house, and I was able to smell it from various points in that room. So that's why I'm going to say overall, you guys, I'm going to settle on this candle being a 7 in terms of strength and throw. Performs very, very well in the closed concept. But even the open concept, I don't feel like it threw all the way into my kitchen. But you know, consistently it doesn't do that. But otherwise, you guys, I am pretty pleased with this fragrance. Overall, you guys, I would say that if you like a blueberry filling type of candle, this is definitely one that you will want to purchase. You know, I'm assuming that Kringle will do more sales, particularly, you know, as we're heading into this weekend. I'm pre-filming this video a couple of days ahead of me planning to put it up. So at the time that I'm filming this, I don't know if Kringle is going to be running a 4th of July sale. I would imagine they would. But if you can get this candle, I think I paid $15, $15.50 for this candle. That would be a great steal. If you're somebody who wants to crock it, you're probably going to get really great performance. But I would say even, you know, even the performance that I'm getting, you know, I prefer to light my candles. I am very satisfied with the performance I am getting because I paid $15 for this candle. I don't think it's worth the $31 price point. Truthfully, you guys, I would say don't ever pay full price for any candles. We know that everything's going to go on sale at some point, or there are affiliate discount codes. I do have one with Kringle. It's Katie15. It'll save you 15% on your full price purchase. But yeah, if you guys are just being patient, these candles do go on sale, you know, here and there. So I would just say if you can get this one for about, I would say anything more than 30% off, you're going to be pretty happy with this fragrance. So let me know in the comment box down below if this is a candle that you have had in your collection. Do you also believe that this candle should be called Blueberry Pie? Do you think that this is misnamed? Because I certainly do. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.